costs a lot to build, maintain, and upgrade theme parks. And finally, with regard to this specific venture, our competitors, NBC Universal and DreamWorks, have the first mover advantage with licensing agreements through TAWIR.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to some of the opportunities that are presented to Disney in this venture. Here's a list of them right here. I'm just going to highlight a couple. One of the opportunities is that Disney has the opportunity for global localization, which means we can adapt our standardized product to this local market. So we need to take into account the needs of the population that we're trying to cater to. As Evan already mentioned, most of the population in the United Arab Emirates is Muslim, so we're probably going to have to cater to some of those religious needs. For example, there's a lot of dietary restrictions in the Muslim faith, so we probably want to make some restaurants that cater to those needs. Also, prayer is a big part of the Muslim faith, so we want to set aside prayer areas that kind of take into account that cultural, feel and religious feel also. Also, some of the characters that Disney has already come up with appeal to this culture. Most notably, Aladdin, which was a highly successful film made in the 90s, kind of goes around with that Arabian Nights feel. So we think if we use that and market it properly, it could be really advantageous in bringing people to our park. Disney also owns a lot of other companies that have been highly successful, most notably Pixar, which has come out with hits like Toy Story, Finding Nemo, WALL-E. These are globally recognized characters that we can use to our advantage that have been part of the subsidiaries of Disney. Also, ESPN is owned by Disney, and we can create some sort of sports world in the Disney theme park. Working with TAWIR would be a great opportunity for us, as they know the market better than we do. So we really want to use that local knowledge that they have to our advantage, so that we can properly market to the people of the United Arab Emirates, and more specifically Dubai. As Wiley mentioned, there are other media conglomerates that could pose potential threats, but none of them have really come into the market yet, so we can use moving in as a first mover advantage. Okay, moving on to some of the threats. Dubailand is currently working with our direct competitors, DreamWorks and NBC Universal, so that's something that we're going to have to take into account and make sure that we're ready to deal with that direct competition. The United Arab Emirates has also been prone to some political instability, and it could affect our entry into the market and our future operations in the market. Also, with this large upfront investment, there isn't much opportunity for an exit. Nobody's really going to want to buy Cinderella's castle in Dubailand, so we need to take that into account and make sure that we're, covering all ends so that we don't lose this investment. Also, licensing our product to a different company could result in the potential loss of intellectual property, so we need to make sure that those bases are covered as well, along with the control of management, which will not totally be ours since we're licensing our products. Okay, now I'm going to move into our target market assessment. And there's really two segments that we're looking into gaining into our theme park, and that is families and tourists and travelers. In regard dealing with families have been a Disney staple since Disney began. They really focus on the good development of children, and that's something that parents can obviously all agree on. So they want to be involved in that and use Disney as the medium for the good development. As you can see here, there's some stats. 20% of the population is below the age of 14, and 79% is between the ages of 15 and 64. So we need to use that combination. Most of the population is what we're looking to target, so this is really great. Going on to tourists, as we've already mentioned, Dubai is a really big tourist hub. There's a lot of other attractions that people will come to see, and we want to make Disney part of those attractions that people come to Dubai to see. There's been a study by the Dubai International Airport that shows that since 1999 and 2003, there's been an increasing number of passengers, so that means that more people are traveling through Dubai. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's more people staying in Dubai, but since there's more people traveling through the airport, we need to try and grab those people and get them to come to our park and visit. All right.
Okay, so after we did this market assessment, we come up with a market entry strategy. We've decided to produce a licensing agreement. Specifically, we want to suggest that Disney World license their products and intellectual input to Dubailand, much like NBC Universal and DreamWorks. Some of the pros of this decision is the strength of Dubai Land, its massive size, and it's working with all of the things it offers. We're going to be able to adapt to the local population, and we're going to be able to work in conjunction with NBC and DreamWorks.
So basically, Disney's brand image is very recognizable all around the world. As Julian mentioned, some of their newer brands like Pixar could really be beneficial to market to kind of a global audience. I know that WALL-E and Cars were very popular in Dubai, but Disney is much like Coca-Cola or Apple. Very branded product. People recognize it. It's all over the world. They need to kind of still maintain that original Cinderella, Peter Pan kind of outlook while incorporating the newer things. And like we said, we also want to kind of adapt to local cultures, create maybe an Aladdin-based ride or something else that really taps into the Dubai market of kind of an Arabian feel. In terms of the product, we need to also adapt to their culture. And so for the most part, Disney has always offered a standardized product and then kind of adapted. We think that we should keep the most successful lands, like Tomorrowland, Toonland, Fantasyland, Adventureland, but we should cut out the most American-type lands, like Frontierland or Main Street USA. We feel that global audiences, especially in that area, don't really want to see that. Instead, we should offer, maybe an Arabian Nights land or something involving ESPN. In addition, we do want to keep something standardized. Cinderella's castle should always remain at the center of the park. It's just one thing Disney is known for, and it's an image of the park. In terms of culture, during the months of Ramadan, Muslim people really aren't supposed. They're fast during the day, and we think that there should be screens at certain restaurants so tourists who are not Muslim can eat without having to be in public. In addition, there should be prayer areas that are kind of removed and a little more quiet. And then for future expansion of our product, if it's successful, this licensing product is less risky, but if it is successful, we could possibly expand to include a resort with hotel accommodations, other attractions like golf or things like that Disney is known for in Walt Disney World or even in California at Disneyland.
All right, with regard to price, thus far, Disney has implemented somewhat of a globally standardized pricing strategy in all of its parks so far. So with regard to currency and exchange rate,